Welcome in Rayat Online School Education Project, that is ROOS project, which is conducted by Rayat Shikshan Sanstha, Sataram. Myself is Shri Nani Bhagwan Sri Kishan, working as a junior college teacher at Maharaja Sayajirao Junior College, Sataram. My subject is Bookkeeping and Accountancy of Standard 12th. 11th Standard syllabus and textbook covers the topics related to basic accounting concepts and sole proprietorship. 12th Standard syllabus and textbook covers the topics related to partnership firm, not-for-profit organizations, accounting of company accounts, that is issue of shares, financial statement analysis, bill of exchange, and computer in accounting. In 12th Standard textbook, due care has been taken to present subject matter in a simple manner so that the students can easily understand the relating accounting concepts and contents. Similarly, the students who do not have a commerce background but are going to pursue further education in commerce, the textbook will be of great help to understand the subject in a lucid manner. Various practical problems based on skills and applications are included in the textbook. The exercises given at the end of each topic contains different types of questions to test conceptual clarity and accuracy and encourage the students to cultivate the skills applications required for their future education. Also, to make learning interesting, additional information and activities for the students are given at the end of every chapter and also in QR code on the title page. Now we have to see the 12th Standard syllabus and weightage. The first chapter is Introduction to Partnership and Partnership Final Accounts. 12 marks practical problem and 4 marks objective questions will be asked on this topic with option and without option. Chapter number 2, Accounts of Not-for-Profit Concerns. 12 marks practical problem and 4 marks objective question will be asked on this topic with option or without option. Chapter number 3, Reconstitution of Partnership, that is admission of partner. 2 marks objective question will be asked on this topic with option and without option. Chapter number 4, Reconstitution of Partnership, that is retirement of partner. 2 marks question with option and without option will be asked on this topic. Chapter number 5, Dissolution of Partnership Firm. 2 marks objective question will be asked on this topic with option and without option. Chapter number 6, Bill of Exchange. 2 marks MCQ question, that is objective questions, will be asked on this topic with option and without option. Chapter number 3, 4, 5th and 6th, on these 4 topics 20 marks practical problem will be asked and with option 40 marks practical problem will be asked. Chapter number 7, Reconstitution of Partnership, that is death of partner. 1 marks objective question will be asked on this topic. Chapter number 8, Company Accounts, that is issue of shares. 1 marks objective question will be asked on this topic. Chapter number 9, Analysis of Financial Statements. 1 marks objective question will be asked on this topic. Chapter number 10, Computer in Accounting. 1 marks objective question will be asked on this topic. Chapter number 7th, 8th, 9th and 10th, on these 4 topics 16 marks practical problem will be asked and with option 32 marks practical problem will be asked. Now we have to see the evaluation scheme of standard 12th. The terminal examination means terminal written examination is of 50 marks. Then preliminary written examination is of 80 marks. Application based test, it is for practice, it is of 20 marks. Similarly, board written examination will be of 80 marks, and application based test, which is for internal assessment, is of 20 marks. Now we have to see the proposed question paper pattern of terminal examination. The terminal examination is 50 marks and the time allotted for the examination is 2.5 hours. In this question paper, 4 questions will be asked. Question number 1, answer the following as directed. Carry 16 marks. In this question number 1, there are 4 sub-questions. A. Do you agree or disagree with the following statements? 4 marks, having 4 sub-questions of 1 marks each. B. Answer in 1 sentence only, 4 marks, having 4 sub-questions of 1 marks each. C. Select the most appropriate answer from the alternatives given below and rewrite the sentence, 4 marks, having 4 sub-questions of 1 marks each. D. Give one word, term, phrase which can substitute each of the following statements, 4 marks, having 4 sub-questions of 1 mark each. Question number 2, practical problem on partnership final accounts, 12 marks. Question number 3, practical problem on not-for-profit concerns, 12 marks. Question number 4, practical problem on admission or retirement of partner, 10 marks. We have to see the proposed question paper pattern of preliminary examination and board examination. In preliminary examination, there are total 7 questions. Preliminary examination is of 80 marks. The time allotted for this examination is 3 hours. Question number 1, from the following types of sub-questions, any 4 will be asked. Question number 1, carries 20 marks with option 20 marks. A. Select the most appropriate option and rewrite the sentence, 5 marks, having 5 sub-questions of 1 marks each. B. Give one word, phrase or term, 5 marks, having 5 sub-questions of 1 marks each. C. State true or false with reason, 5 marks, having 2 sub-questions of 2.5 marks each. D. Find the odd one, 5 marks, having 5 sub-questions of 1 marks each. E. Complete the sentences, 5 marks, having 5 sub-questions of 1 marks each. F. Answer in 1 sentence only, 5 marks, having 5 sub-questions of 1 marks each. G. Do you agree or disagree with the following statements, 5 marks, having 5 sub-questions of 1 marks each. H. Calculate the following, 5 marks, having 5 sub-questions of 1 marks each. I. Give specimen of bill of exchange, 5 marks. J. Complete the following table, 5 marks, having 5 sub-questions of 1 marks each. It means that out of these A to J 10 types of sub-questions, only 4 will be asked in the examination for 20 marks. Then question number 2, solve any one from the following: admission of partner, retirement of partner, dissolution of partnership firm, bill of exchange. On these 4 topics, any 2 questions or 2 practical problems will be asked of 10 marks each and with option 20 marks. Out of these 2 questions, we have to solve only one problem. Question number 3, solve any one from the following: admission of a partner, retirement of partner, dissolution of partnership firm, and bill of exchange. On these 4 topics, any 2 remaining problems from question number 2 will be asked for 10 marks with option 20 marks. Question number 4, solve any one from the following: death of a partner, issue of shares, analysis of financial statement, computer and accounting. On these 4 chapters or topic, any 2 problems will be asked. Each problem is for 8 marks with option 16 marks. We have to solve any one problem. Question number 5, solve any one from the following: death of a partner, issue of shares, analysis of financial statements, computer in accounting. Any 2 remaining problems from question number 4 will be asked for 8 marks with option 16 marks. Question number 6, problem on not for profit concern, 12 marks. Question number 7, problem on partnership final accounts, 12 marks. Now we have to see the first chapter, introduction to partnership and partnership final accounts. In order to better understand, we have divided this chapter into 2 parts. First part is introduction to partnership and second part is partnership final account. Now we have to see the first part, introduction to partnership. In this first part, we have to learn meaning and definition of partnership, features or characteristics of partnership, partnership deed, its meaning and its contents, provisions of Indian Partnership Act 1932, methods of capital account. Now see introduction. In 11th standard, we have already studied about sole proprietorship, partnership firm, company, etc. Means in 11th standard, we have studied about various forms of business organizations. There are various forms of business organizations, but according to ownership, there are 3 forms of business organization: sole proprietorship, partnership firm and company. In 11th standard, we have studied about sole proprietorship. What do you mean by sole proprietorship? Sole proprietorship is a business enterprise which is owned and run by one person or a single person. There are various limitations of sole proprietorship, such as limited capital, unlimited liability, limited managerial skill, no stability, absence of specialization, etc. In order to come out of these limitations, we have to need to form a partnership firm. So there is a need to form a partnership firm. What is mean by partnership firm? Partnership is an organization where 2 or more persons come together to carry on a business. They agree to share capital, the management, risk and profits of a business. Such mutual relationship based on an agreement among these persons is known as a partnership. It means that partnership is an association or organization of two or more persons who comes together to carry on a business. They share capital, management, risk and profits of the business. And such mutual relationship among all these persons based on agreement is called as a partnership. The person who comes together to start a business or to carry on a business are individually called as a partner and collectively a partnership firm. Now we have to see the definition of partnership. According to Indian Partnership Act 1932, it is the relation between persons who have agreed to share the profits of a business carried on by all or any one of them acting for all. It means that partnership is a relationship between all those persons who have agreed to share the profit of a business. Which business? Which is carried by all partners or any one of them acting for all. Now we have to see the features or characteristics of partnership firm. There are total 9 features or characteristics of partnership firm. Now we have to see. First feature is agreement. A partnership firm is a result of an agreement. Agreement may be in written form or oral form. According to Partnership Act 1932, it is not compulsory to have a written agreement. But a written agreement is preferred because we can use it as a proof in the court of law when any dispute arises among the partners. A written agreement is known as a partnership deed. Second feature is number of partners. Minimum 2 persons or 2 partners are required to form a partnership firm, and the maximum number of partners are 50 according to Companies Act 2013, which is amended in 2014. Third feature is lawful business. A business which is undertaken by a partnership firm should be lawful. It cannot undertake a business which is not allowed by the state. Similarly, the definition of partnership does not permit any illegal business. Fourth feature is sharing of profit and losses. The purpose of partnership firm is to earn maximum profit. So, the profit or loss which is earned by the partnership firm can be shared according to the ratio given in the partnership deed. But when partnership deed is silent about profit sharing ratio, then profit or loss have to be shared in equal ratio. Fifth one is unlimited liability. The liability of partners is unlimited, joint and several. It means that when the assets of a partnership firm is not sufficient to pay the liability, at that time the personal property of the partners can be used. Similarly, when a partner is declared insolvent, at that time the liability of insolvent partner will be borne by other solvent partners. Next one is registration. What do you mean by registration? Registration means entering the name of partnership firm in the register of the registrar. Registration of partnership firm is compulsory only in the state of Maharashtra from 1st April 2005. But according to Indian Partnership Act, it is optional. It means that a firm may or may not be registered. Seventh feature is joint ownership and management. Each and every partner is the joint owner of the property of the firm. So he cannot use the property of the business for his personal use. All partners have equal rights in managing the firm. So all partners are jointly responsible for the management of the firm. Eighth feature is principal and agent. Each and every partner works in twofold capacities, that is principal and agent. A partner acts as a principal with outsiders and as an agent with other partners. Ninth feature is dissolution. What do you mean by dissolution? Dissolution means to close or to stop the business of partnership firm. A partnership firm can be dissolved with the help of an agreement. When a partner wants to close the business of partnership firm, he have to give 14 days notice. Similarly, a partnership firm can be dissolved in case of death of partner, retirement of partner, or insolvency or insane of partner. Now we have to see partnership deed. What do you mean by partnership deed? The document containing the partnership agreement among the partners is called as a partnership deed. Partnership deed contains the terms and conditions which are agreed upon by all partners. An agreement may be in written or oral form, but when it is in written form, it is called as a partnership deed. Partnership deed contains the rules and regulations framed for the internal management of the firm. Partnership deed is also known as an article of partnership. Now see the specimen or pro forma of partnership deed. Now we have to see the contents of partnership deed. First one is name and address of the partnership firm and its main business. Second one is name and addresses of all partners and duration of the partnership. Third is capital contribution of all the partners. Fourth is ratio in which profits or losses are to be shared. Fifth one is rights, duties and liabilities of each and every partners. Sixth is provisions related to admission, retirement, death of a partner. Seventh one is rate of interest on capital, loan, drawings, etc. Eighth one is salary, commission, etc. if payable to any partners. Ninth is settlement of accounts on dissolution of the firm. 10th is methods of settlement of disputes among the partners. 11th is any other matter relating to the conduct of the business. Now we have to see the provisions of Indian Partnership Act 1932. At the time of formation of partnership, a document is prepared and that document is known as a partnership deed, and all terms and conditions are included in the partnership deed. But when partnership deed is silent about any point, then that issue can be solved with the help of provisions of Indian Partnership Act 1932. Now see the first provision, distribution of profits. When partnership deed is silent about profit sharing ratio, means profit sharing ratio is not mentioned in the partnership deed. At that time, partners have to share profit and losses in equal ratio. Second, interest on drawings. According to provisions of Indian Partnership Act, when date of drawing is not given, at that time on an average 6 months interest is charged on drawings. Third one is interest on partner's loan. When a partner provides an additional amount to the firm as a loan and rate of interest is not given at that time according to provisions of Indian Partnership Act, 6% per annum interest is allowed. Then next, fourth one is interest on capital. When partnership deed is silent about interest on capital, then no interest is allowed according to the provisions of Indian Partnership Act. Fifth is salary or commission to partners. According to the provisions of Indian Partnership Act 1932, no salary, commission or any other remuneration is to be provided to partners for any extra work done by them for the firm. But when there is some provisions are made in partnership deed, at that time partners are entitled to get salary or commission according to the partnership agreement. Sixth is admission of a new partner. According to the provisions of Indian Partnership Act, no outside person can be admitted as a partner without the consent of old partners. Now we have to see the methods of capital account. Amount in cash or kind brought in by the partner to manage the business activities is called as a capital. There are two methods of maintaining capital accounts. First one is fixed capital method and second one is fluctuating capital method. Under fixed capital method, two accounts are open and operated. First one is capital account and second one is current account. Under fixed capital method, two accounts are open. First one is capital account and second one is current account. Under fluctuating capital method, only one account is open, that is capital account. Now see the fixed capital method. Fixed capital method is a method under which the capital amount of partner remains the same at the end of the financial year. There is no addition or subtractions from the capital during the year except additional capital brought by the partner. So a separate account is opened by the name partner's current account to pass all the adjustments relating to partner's capital account, such as drawings, interest on drawings, interest on capital, salary or commission to partners, share of profit, etc. See the pro forma of partner's capital account. Remember, in fixed capital method, two accounts are open. First one is capital account and second one is partner's current account. See the pro forma of partner's capital account. When there is credit balance on partner's capital account, we have to write it on credit side by the name balance brought down. When a partner brings additional capital in form of cash, then we have to write it by the name by cash or bank account on the credit side of the capital account. When capital is brought in the form of asset, then we have to write on the credit side of the capital account by the name by that particular asset account. Thereafter, we have to close the capital account and we have to find out the balance. When there is credit balance, we have to write it on the debit side by the name to balance carried down. Now see the specimen of partner's current account. Current account have debit balance or credit balance. When there is a debit balance, we have to write it on the debit side to balance brought down. When there is credit balance, we have to write it on credit side by the name by balance brought down. all the adjustments relating to capital we have to pass through current account. All the adjustment which increases the amount of capital of a partner, we have to write it on credit side, such as interest on capital, salaries, commission, profit and loss means share of net profit. Similarly, all the adjustments relating to capital which decreases the amount of capital, we have to write it on the debit side of the partner's current account. That is, interest on drawings, profit and loss account means share of loss, etc. Thereafter, we have to close the partner's current account. When there is credit balance, means credit side is greater than debit side, we have to write it on debit side by the name to balance carried down. And when there is debit balance, means debit side is greater than credit side, then we have to write it on the credit side by the name by balance carried down. Now see the second method, fluctuating capital method. Fluctuating capital method is a method in which the amount of capital balances changes every year. In this method, the partner's current account is not open. Only partner's capital account is open. Hence, all the adjustments relating to capital are passed through the partner's capital account. For example, drawings, interest on drawings, interest on capital, salary paid to partner, commission, brokerage, share of profit, etc. Now see the specimen of partner's capital account under fluctuating capital method. Capital account may be debit balance or credit balance. When there is debit balance on capital account, we have to write it on debit side by the name to balance brought down. When there is credit balance, we have to write it by the name balance brought down on the credit side of the capital account. Then all adjustments which increases the amount of capital of the partner, we have to write it on credit side of the capital account. And all the adjustments which increases the amount of decreases the amount of capital, we have to write it on the debit side of the partner's capital account. Thereafter, we have to close the capital account and we have to find out the balance. When there is credit balance, means credit side is greater than debit side, then we have to write the difference by the name balance carried down on the debit side. When there is debit balance, we have to write the difference on credit side by the name balance carried down.